Welcome to the Monday, February 6th Board of Health meeting. We have a very light agenda today. We have no hearings or appointments scheduled. For action items, we have one invoice for post office sign receipts for housing in the amount of $25.03. Can I get a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
All those in favor?
I'll second it.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. no
Jumping the
worries.
gun.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. January 23rd minutes. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yep.
Yep. Can I get a motion for approval?
I'll motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Disposal system construction permits with local upgrade approval. Jean Marie, do you want to speak on those?
You've got two. The first one's 625 Bedford Street. It has a large number of variance requests. This is the yellow house that's opposite the Joppa Grill. And the back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that. This is the yellow house that's,
Opposite the Joppa?
On the other side of the parking lot?
okay.
No, opposite, like across the street.
Okay.
Next to that big detention basin that the state just put in. It was our boarding house. Anyways, right off the back side of that is the Matfield River. So the septic's in the back and it's where it is and it's polluting now, so we're gonna just do better than that. There isn't much else or anywhere else to put it. So they're asking for a sieve test because we couldn't get a perk test. Local upgrade approval, 15.211. They have 17 feet from the foundation, 20 is required. Local upgrade approval, 211, 13 feet from the SAS to the bordering vegetative wetland line, 50-footer. So it's pretty close. 50 is what's required by the state. Local upgrade approval, 15.212, 3 feet from the bottom of the groundwater to the top of the system. Bottom of the system, 4 feet's required. Those last two, you usually can't, it's an either-or situation. So he's proposing treatment. You know, a jet system, denitrification before it goes out there. 6-bedroom home. It is
So-
what it is.
Your bullet point here, a variance can be granted to both if advanced treatment. Can you elaborate on the advanced treatment?
Denitrification system, a jet system, a bat system, fast. This is a jet system.
So is this a preliminary or an approval based on that being installed, or is that part of,
That's part of the approval process.
okay, so
It's on the
the
plan.
homeowner will have that installed?
Yep. The engineer will have it installed. Yeah.
So does that waive the required feet? Or does it change what the required feet would be if he has the jet system as opposed to not having it? Like, I'm primarily concerned with the 13 feet, which is supposed to be
Right.
50.
Right.
That's pretty-
So, and there's nothing we can do about that. That Matfield River is right there. You try not to grant both those, like down and closer.
Mhm.
By putting in advanced treatment, at least you're taking the nitrogen out of it. That's what the concern is in allowing it. So, that's what he's proposing to do.
And based on your experience, is that his only option for approval?
It really is. There's no more land there. I mean, you're up against fill in the front that the state put in because of that detention basin. And then, they put reprocessed gravel under the parking lot, which is all the front. And the back's the only place, which isn't much. It's like 40 by 40. It drops down about, I think, 10 feet to the Matfield River. So the only thing I asked him to check was, when it floods, how high are we? You know, like we were a couple of weeks ago. And he didn't quite have an answer on that. I don't think it floods as bad as Old Forge down here does, or Pond Street where it went over the road. I don't think it does that. But it does, you know, it rises in the spring and it rises on.
I mean, I know that intersection itself has flooded a few times that I've seen.
And that's where we're at, very close to that. The other option is a tight tank, a 6-bedroom home.
So the advanced treatment system, is that something that has to be monitored and a report generated?
Yes, we get monthly from all our advanced treatment systems. We get them. The ones on Central Street have it because they're in Zone 2s. The new houses on Central Street all have them.
So I guess my last
Do
question
you
is,
want
what
the
happens
engineer
if
to
the
come in?
readings are outside the acceptable parameters?
Then we can tight tank it, and they get their possibility to repair it.
And without the variance being granted, then where are we at?
Tight tanking. The soils are tough. They're riverbed soils, silt clays.
So are we looking for approval of the variance tonight, or is there information that he's?
If
to
you
get
don't
back?
want to and you want more information, I can certainly ask him for that. So you could ask him for more info. Do you want to do that?
I personally, I'm in the dark with this. It's a little bit more for me to process. I'm just focusing on the numbers and what the requirements are as
Right.
to not. And if he puts in the jet system, does it alleviate those required feet? Like, is that within the jurisdiction? Like, does it make the required feet less, or does it just benefit the fact if there's an issue?
It benefits if the fact is an issue. It doesn't make it less.
Yeah.
This also has to go through conservation, so it may change again. Because they certainly have the riparian zone and the wetlands issues.
So I, myself, would say to table this until it goes through conservation.
Okay.
Rob and Tom?
Well, no, that's, I was thinking the same thing, but that was gonna be my next question, so will conversation entertain this without us approving it?
Yes,
Okay, all right, then I think
wetland lines are
Lisa's right on,
wetland lines, yeah.
probably get their level of expertise and input as well.
Okay.
Okay, so can I get a motion for the 625 Bedford Street to be tabled at present pending further evaluation?
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right,
All right, 279 Union?
This one's easier. They're asking for a local upgrade approval to reduce the 4-foot separation from the SAS to estimated high groundwater from 4 to 3 feet, and to allow 1 deep hole in the SAS. This one doesn't have wetland issues. We're not near a brook or anything. I mean, it's about 150 feet away.
so where is the challenge with only one deep hole?
State law really requires 2, a
Right.
lot of times for repairs, since you're doing it off an existing plan that was done 20.
But on
30
site, why can't they obtain a second deep hole?
They usually don't like to. It's usually because you're ripping up someone's yard and you don't always have the room. They just get 1.
And this is a repair?
Yep.
And why is it being repaired?
It's being sold.
It's,
Didn't pass the Title V. It's in the groundwater. It's got 1 pit that's about 8 feet deep, so it's definitely in the groundwater.
what's your feelings on this one, Jean Marie?
This one has less sensitive receptors around it. It's a groundwater issue. Poor soils on the top and water table on the bottom, so this is fine. We grant this a lot.
Do you feel it's okay with the 1 deep hole, or do you think we should require 2 where it's a recent?
We have the deep hole that we did the day we were out there is very consistent with what was done 35 years ago. So it doesn't look like it's changed any. So we just use that, the deep hole done 35 years ago, and this one is 2. This, P&P usually requests, if they don't get 2 holes, to waive 1.
Discussion?
All right, yep, second. Does somebody make the motion?
I haven't made a motion. I didn't know if you had any other questions.
No, I'm good.
Tom?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the 279 Union Street variance request.
Okay, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So approved. New construction approval?
Yep, they meet code, 1754 Central Street, 1766 Central Street, 1778 Central Street. We're down almost to the Hanson line on the left-hand side. We've got 4 houses up already. These are the other 3 on Central Street.
Okay.
They're fine.
Food establishments. We have a renewal for We Are Bananas and Dang's Garden Sushi variants. So I'm gonna separate these because we have discussion for Dang's. So I will make a request for a motion to approve We Are Bananas renewal.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second, but so is this home-based?
Nope, 125 Highland Street is the daycare center.
That's
It's
right.
that
on the
Okay,
corner.
Gotcha.
This
We
is
worked on that. Okay.
this is the limited license that was
Yep,
put in.
yep.
And then they'd expand when they got sewage.
Okay.
This is
Okay,
the smoothie sort of thing,
So,
smoothie and coffee.
second,
All those in favor?
aye,
And then Dang's, so the sushi variants.
Okay, so under Federal Food Code / Mass Code, which we enforce, I gave you food protection program, and it said the rationale behind it. When we're taking care of food and keeping food safe, we either ask them to hold it below 41 degrees or higher than 135. And that's a 2-hour window in the middle that they can have. Sushi rice is a little different. If it's hot or cold, it doesn't mold well. So the state says you can allow them to hold it up to 4 hours as long as it meets a certain pH and you follow certain guidelines. So they have to write the guidelines out. It's called a hazard analysis control point plan, and they have to follow it. And one of the big things of this is making sure the pH is right. So when you do sushi, if you're not familiar with sushi, I gave you a little bit of what it is. They use the rice, because rice is used by a lot of bacteria and a lot of viruses to grow. So it has to be kept below 4.1. And that's the key point on it. So they have to make sure they're doing that every time they cook it and every time they mold it and hold it. The other thing that they have to do is, because sushi is considered a raw food, they have to have certain very high grades of fish in there. The fish has to be parasitic free, and they have to guarantee that by having a certain, where they get it and who gives it to them. And that person has to make sure it's parasitic free, or it has to be farm raised. A really good example is salmon. You can either get wild-caught salmon, which has to be parasitic free, it's flash frozen at 4 degrees and kept there until it's served, or it's farm raised where they control the water and what goes into the water, which is what they do with farm raised. So they have to have their procedures set out, they have to understand why they're doing it, they have to test the rice down to pH, and this is what they're asking you for variance from being allowed to have 4 hours in that 41 degrees, between 41 and 135, as long as they do the pH. And that's what the variance is from food code. Okay?
Sorry, you're gonna have to clarify that for me
yeah,
a
I'm a
little
little,
more.
yeah, I didn't realize this
So-
was actually a variance request.
So
That's what it says.
they are a
Yep.
pre-existing establishment under certain food codes.
Right.
Is that where the 41-degree mark comes in? The sushi is just a different, or are they looking to variant the actual code?
It's legally a variance from food code to allow the food to be at room temperature for more than 2 hours.
And that's the sushi protocol?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the sushi protocol.
Now, I assume you've been in there, so my question would be, are there also different steps involved as like, can the sushi products be in refrigeration and storage with their previous existing products, or do they have to have a whole separate?
Preparation-wise, they have to be separate. And then food grade-wise, some of them, like the raw fish, has to be separate. So if you look, it says, on one of the things, the handouts we give you, it says how to do that. Food protection policies, procedures, and guidelines. It talks about the HACCP plan down here, and that's what I went through with them. And that's
And
what
they have proper,
They have submitted it, yep. Yeah. That's it.
To the extent that it's a variance, it is like a standard variance for all sushi? sushi?
It is for sushi, yes. I did not find one for our other establishment, so I'm digging back a little further to that. All right? Do we include their plans and stuff in there?
So there is, I do see a plan.
Do you guys have a plan and a menu and that kind of stuff in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have everything.
So, and then they've already had their, like I have the lab reports, that they've already had their pH of their rice done. And then they have a log where they have to test it every time. And we have a Gladwell's Trading Corporation in Newmarket Square. This serves as the letter that will operate under FDA guidelines. And we have copies of the vendors with certificate of compliance, and they will be supplying, and they list all the different fishes. We also purchase and sell farm-raised salmon, which are fed big-eyed tuna, bluefin tuna northern, bluefin tuna southern, and yellowfish tuna. So it looks like it's mostly tuna and salmon. And then they have a thing that says, "This is to assure you all our frozen food sold to your company from our company. We noted that it's stored as -4 degrees or lower before distributing, and it is parasitic-free." So that's their letter of certification. Right? You should have a floor plan in there. They have to have a separate prep area with, almost like a sandwich prep. The little things that have all, how cold they are, and they can stay cold and they stay in that refrigerator, so there's separate preparation.
And does that affect their staffing model? Like, can someone be working one side and cross over to the other side?
No, they have a sushi chef coming in,
Okay.
someone who's been trained to do this. So that,
And that will correlate with the amount of hours they're open?
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm probably speaking out of ignorance, but
Nope,
this just is a
nope.
whole different thing for me.
I had to
Um,
go through it too.
Yeah, I'm
really.
just thinking, sometimes there's one person, sometimes there's two.
They will have a sushi chef. What usually happens is they have a sushi chef, he comes in, he cooks or preps for like lunch. He'll start at 11, he'll prep it, and then that can stay until 8 or 9 at night, as long as it stays below 41. But it can't be above 40, 41 to 135 for 4 hours as long as it has the rice, because the rice is pH controlled.
And if those products weren't sold, then they would be discarded at the end of the day?
Yep.
And they're aware of that?
Yep.
And what
I
is
think
our
if-
follow-up on that? Like, if we issue the variance, is there a set guideline for you to go out and make sure they're following it, or is it just
Well, I
like
won't-
regular?
It will be part of their permit, a separate part of their permit, just like milk and cream would be or something else. They wouldn't get it until the food prep unit was in and the licensed person was there, and I ran through prep with him. Watched him do it, basically. And there's other considerations that they have to deal with. They use a lot of bamboo products, which are hard to keep clean.
I'm sorry, they use a lot of,
Bamboo,
oh, bamboo, I'm
like
sorry.
bamboo mats.
Yeah.
But what the protocol for that is put plastic wrap on it.
Mhm.
Roll it up in the plastic wrap with the bamboo mat around it. And then you only have to throw out the plastic wrap. Or they have plastic wrapping papers, like mats. Like we have plastic cutting boards, like those. So it is a different procedure, but that's what is allowed by state law.
So I see the log sheet here. Now, are you able to, so there's a pH and temp. So on an inspection, are you able to test for pH?
I have pH papers that I use,
Okay,
just like I use them for sanitizer or pool inspections.
okay.
They will have the same pH paper.
And then being, new, I shouldn't say new to them, but
No.
it is new to them. Does our inspection frequency change?
We have a couple of people that will be switching to a quarterly inspection, just because their size or the number of people they serve. More than 50 people in a pretty routine thing. And I think I'll put them on that
Okay.
increased inspection. That log is.
Do you
them to-
schedule that? Do they know you're popping by, or?
I try not to be exactly at 6 months,
Okay.
for that reason. No, yes, I do. Close to it, but not exactly.
Okay, I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, it's not
You know?
like it's something that you call and say, I'm gonna be here on Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Unannounced.
Okay, fair enough. Okay,
All right. So can I get a motion to approve the sushi variance for Dang's Garden?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Installer's license, none? Jean Marie?
I'll defer to
Are they just listed separately?
They're just listed right here.
events and,
Do that one.
I know.
Sorry, I just don't see.
Nope, that's okay. It's in the
Oh.
packet. Flowmaster Corp., 191 Bedford Street, Middleborough, and all-season septic service, 200 Cushing Street, Stoughton, Mass.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I have a different listing. Sorry. not to
No,
be weird.
that's the installer list.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
What are we on now?
She was on Holler, right? Did
I
you
was
say-
on installer.
Oh, you
'cause
were?
I
I'm
didn't
so
see it on the
sorry.
main sheet.
Site Pro Constructing in Situate, Ed Hart from Middleborough, Redland Sun from Middleborough, JF Carpenter Construction Corp. in Plymouth, Virgo in Johnson, Rhode Island, that's the one doing the big one up the street, and Kruger Construction in Whitman Street, East Bridgewater.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the installer's license for 2023?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Haulers permits, we have Flowmaster Corp. and all-season septic service. Are these renewals or are these two new?
They are renewals.
Yeah, they're septic.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Body art practitioner permits. So we have one, in addition, Michaela DeKoff for Mass Inc. So she's just adding on?
Right.
All right, and all her paperwork is
Yep.
situated? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve Michaela for Mass Inc.?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Health agent updates?
Site assessment, septics and perks, 585 North Bedford Street, and the 7 lots behind Trenchel Street that you just approved, between that and Industrial Way. Repairs, 229 Crescent, 625 Bedford, 279 Union, and 2045 Washington Street. I approve by that, no variances, it's a repair. New construction, the ones on Central Street we talked about. Systems under construction, 178 Sherwood, 125 Bridge, 530 Bridge, 627 Bridge, I'm marching down Bridge Street, 576 Thatcher, 572 Bedford, and new construction is 9 Daisy Lane and 0 Keith Place. Food inspections, Tatami, Sawtucket Pizza, Viking, and Skinner's were all re-inspected and did better this time. We did Dang's variance for septic, so we're fine. Housing, ongoing concerns for 147 Thayer. They did not agree with the decision of the board closing to the housing case at the last meeting. Flooding, we had Robbins Pond Dam gave away. Some of the houses on Bigsby Avenue, which is right adjacent to Robbins Pond, flooded. They were the small cottages that don't have basements and are on wooden floors, the original 1900s. They're all drying out now. We're doing okay with that. Pond Street is flooded and is closed because the culvert has basically
They
collapsed.
opened it today,
They opened it
this
today?
afternoon.
Okay, good. It's open. Like I said, some things change. The dam has not been rebuilt, but it has been restructured up. Budgets tonight, Bridge Street fencing and gas improvements is tonight. And I had a housing seminar on Wednesday, February 1st. It was paid for by the FEPS grant. It was exciting to see that they're gonna have new electronic inspections. I was excited. That's about it. Any questions?
Nope. Did we want to bring up waste management?
Waste management or,
Yep.
Um,
So we have, waste management for the trash haulers. Rob Ken, the operation manager, the DPW, was asking if the town has ever waived for Republic Services prior. The fee for the trash hauler is $300 fee. And then I'll let Jean Marie talk to that.
Republica is what we know it as. It's the blue trucks that run around town and do our trash pickup. It's also known as waste management. a lot of trash companies especially, they're bought out by other trash companies, multiple names. It's really hard to keep track. DPW asked if we were gonna waive the fee, the $300 fee. They did not have a license, and we reminded them of that last week to operate in town. My feeling is they do have I think they have other private accounts. You know, not just town's accounts.
So the town had Republic, correct?
We do,
Okay, and Republic was purchased by Waste Management, is that what I'm understanding?
I think so, yeah.
So the question is, they've never had purchased a license in the past because they have a contract with the town, and then it came to our attention that they didn't have a license, so Jean Marie reached out that they had to have a license to operate in town, and the license fee is $300.
I at least needed the paperwork.
And
you
the
know?
DPW was asking to have it waived because they have a town contract. However, they also have private contracts throughout the town in addition to the town waste removal. So they wanted to know whether or not we would waive the $300 fee, or we would continue to charge the $300 fee based on the fact that even though they're our town service, they have private contracts for dumpsters and whatnot throughout the town.
So they have the town contract and they have private. So why would not those customers move over to?
They're
Town
not just
service.
weekly
They
service
can't always
pickup,
do
they're
that.
like dumpsters
Oh,
and all
dumps,
that
gotcha,
stuff.
gotcha, okay.
I mean, personally, I think this is kind of like one of those catch-22s, although we appreciate them having the contract and providing the service to the town. If we eliminate their license fee for their private contracts, it kind of makes it imperative that we do that for anyone that is affiliated with town contracts and also has private contracts. But the fact that they never had a license is,
I don't know, I just know that this year and last year, they didn't. That's as far back as I can track them. I don't know it was done before, really.
Is it the same division of the company that does? I mean, it could be,
That's way above me figuring
Yeah.
out. I'm sorry, but we have one company that goes under 12 DBAs. And it's enough to drive you nuts.
yeah.
so I guess maybe before we can vote on this, we would need to know what their dealings in town are. They hold the town contract, do they hold other contracts in town? Are there other DBAs that work beneath them? Have they ever paid us for a license?
Okay. Okay. We'll do that. And just a side note, just tentatively wanted to let you know that we're looking into scheduling for the rabies clinic over at the COA, tentatively Monday, June 5th, and a rain date of June 6th, and I'll get you more information on that. And then People GIS, just a real quick update. People GIS is the permitting online. I have reached out to them numerous times. Lisa has been on those emails. I'm just waiting for them to send me a quote for training. So, with that said,
So that was the same challenge from last meeting, and we haven't moved
They're
the
very
needle any?
slow.
no, I send them emails, I reach out to them, and I have not heard back from them.
And there's some of the town,
They did get back to me once.
Okay.
There's a story behind it.
but it's
and I can
larger
go
than
into-
just us. It's-
Yeah.
it's-
Oh,
it's
yes.
Other
Oh, yeah,
departments are
definitely.
using
Yes.
the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
all right,
Yep.
Okay.
All right, anyone have anything else?
Nope. Lisa, are you gonna have the meeting?
Yeah, I was just gonna do that. So, given the lightness and the fact of the Monday, the 20th holiday, our next meeting would be the 27th, which we will cancel because we are meeting March 6th, which is the following Monday. So March 6th will be our next meeting at 5 PM. And can I get a motion to close the Monday, February 6th meeting for this evening?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, meeting adjourned.